why you should never let go of having hope. I just recently came up with a saying that goes along the lines of, it was the slightest possibility that tomorrow, next week, next month, next year would get better that got me through a lot of things. The reason being is because when you are in a mental state where you can't see a way out, where nothing is going to ever get better, things aren't ever going to change. When you are in that mental state, it is really, really hard to find a way, seeing yourself getting through whatever it is you are going through. When you're in that mental state where you are is where you always will be, how you feel is always going to be how you are always going to feel. Again, nothing can get better. When you're in that mental state, it is really, really hard to crawl yourself out of and get through what you are going through. For me, it was the slightest possibility that tomorrow, next week, next month, again, even next year, that got me through the worst of things. The reason being is because I not only had hope that tomorrow would be better. It's not like me saying, oh, tomorrow's going to be better, and then next week's going to be better. Oh, you know what, next week's not better, but maybe next month is going to be better. Next year. No. I had to find a way. I had to put in the effort to help me keep wanting to reach for another tomorrow, another tomorrow, another tomorrow. I needed something that was going to help drive me closer to my tomorrows, to my next weeks, to my next months, to my next years. And for me, it was my website. I was going through in January 2020, I went through a very dark depression, very scary time within my life. It was very, very hard for me to get through that experience. That was a journey within itself. I genuinely didn't. Me reflecting off that experience, it's to me it would be some form of a miracle, because I was lost, like completely lost, and it was scary. And the thing that helped me continue to drive, the thing that was my vehicle to wanting to keep seeing another tomorrow, next week, and next month, next year, which ultimately 3 years later, we're now in 2023. It ultimately brought me to where I am, along, of course, of other things, right? But in this context of the video, is that it was me talking to a very dear friend that gave me the inspiration to say, hey Vic, while I was going through a very hard time, he reached out to me. He heard about what I was going through, reached out to me, talked to me. We were on the phone for a while. He says, why don't you turn this negative experience into a positive? Like, what's the positive here? And again, when you're in that mental state that nothing can ever get better, things are always going to be the way they are. It's really, really hard to see a light through the end of the tunnel, right? At the end of the tunnel, to say the least, right? Again, a dear friend reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you turn this negative experience into a positive? And we started talking, and I'm just listening. And he says, why don't you build a website? Like, you have a story to tell. Anyhow, talked for a while. He kept checking up on me, and I'm fortunate for that. Anyhow, my drive, my vehicle was my website. It was me wanting to help people get through what I was going through. I wanted to utilize my past, my experiences, my struggles, my pain, my life's teachings to ultimately help someone else. Because I know that if I was going through this, if I was feeling like this, I know that someone else out there is going through something, either the same thing or a very similar experience. And if I can not only have just experience a similar experience with someone, but if I can ultimately share what I know, what helped me get through what I was going through, I can only imagine the value I can possibly provide to help you get through whatever it is you are going through. Again, whether it's you can relate to me, or you can we share a very similar experience. Hey, that guy, you know, he went through ... I am going through ... It might not be the same thing, but you know what? It's very similar. And I'm going to... He knows something that I don't, right? How can I get through whatever it is that I am going through? Those are questions that we have to ask ourselves. How can I get through whatever it is that I'm going through? When I was going through, again, a very challenging period within my life, I genuinely didn't... Me being here today, like 3 years later, because again, we're in 2023, to me, it's a form of a miracle. Because to get through what I was going through has been a journey within itself. It hasn't been easy. A lot of effort, a lot of inner work that I had to work on in here and get right. A lot of learning, a lot of reflection, a lot of me studying the people who overcame very similar experiences of mine. Something I can, people that has gone through certain things and overcame them. How did they do it? Because if they were able to go from where they are to getting them to, if they were able to go from where they were to where they are, that was huge to me. And again, my website was my vehicle. I forgot the title of this, I forgot the beginning of this video. But anyhow, what I'm trying to say here is, I'm gonna just end it there. I hope this video was able to bring some form of value to you. As I make these videos, I'm continuing to learn, to grow, find different ways to improve my communication skills, ultimately find ways to provide the most value to and for you guys. I'm trying something different. I mentioned this a few videos ago, but I'm trying something different with my content where I kind of just have an idea, like on a topic, whether I write it down or it's just off the top of my head, and then I talk about it, and then I later review it to see if I think it can provide value. If it does, if I do think it can provide value to at least one person out there, of course, being mindful of the potential other people it can reach, then determines whether or not it gets uploaded or not. But the purpose behind my content is to provide value to and for you guys, and share my experiences, the things that I learned, the things that I know in a sense, to help you guys get through whatever it is that you may be going through. I love you, I appreciate you, and remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.